Hey everybody, today's learning target for the week is about subtracting with negative numbers, positive and negative, but the trick is that's new is subtracting with negative numbers. And how do we deal with that? And what I'd like you to do is get your math notebooks out. The first thing I'm going to have you do is draw some number lines, and you can see how I went on the upper half where you have the graph paper, and I've got three number lines. They go from negative 10 to positive 10, negative 50 to positive 50, negative 100 to 100. And notice how that I've got these, every 5 squares I've got a darker line, and those numbers are bigger. It makes it easier to read a graph. Notice how here I got 0, 25, 50, and the other numbers are really small. These are going up by 5s, and these are going up by 10s, and these are going up by 1s. So pause the video real quick, make these number lines, take your time, make them neat, because you're gonna send me a picture of these later. But after you finish these, let's go take a look at how do we handle subtracting with positive and negative numbers. And I'm just going to jump right in with a problem. 3 minus 7. Now, normally we would have 7 minus 3, and this will end up being negative. And we want to talk about a different way to look at subtraction. And the way we're going to do it is not subtract at all, but combine. And in the combining, I need to get rid of this subtraction, and I want to show you the way I want to look at these numbers. I'm going to take kind of like a box or a bubble, so to speak, and I'm going to come around this all the way up to a 3. And this is what I'm going to look at the number as. So I'm no longer going to look at this as subtraction. I'm going to take a look at this as a positive or a negative number. So the way these go is that first number is going to be a 3. Oops, drag this over here. And the second number is going to be a negative 7. Because that's how we see it in the bubble. That negative sign, instead of subtract 7, I'm calling it negative 7. And if you haven't noticed, I'm going to use some color coding just to make things a little easier for us. And I want to take positive numbers and make them red. Not that it matters, there's no significance to this. I'm just randomly picking colors. And the negative numbers to be green. And when I'm combining them, it doesn't matter if the 3's on this side, or the negative 7 comes first, because I have a negative number and a positive number, and I'm combining them together. And the way I do it is I just ask, which one do I have more of? This negative 7 means I've got 7 green numbers, 7 negatives, and the red means I have 3 positives, and I got more of the green. So when I combine these together, what I'm going to be left with is the one I have more of. And I have more green. How many more green? Well, I go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 4 more green than red. So behind here, my answer is going to be green because I have more of them, and I have 4 more than the red. And so your answer would be negative 4. So you would write this. So you go ahead and write that in your math notebooks. 3 minus 7 equals a negative 4. And if you've got highlighters, helpful to color code these. So I'm going to do the same thing on another problem. Notice this one's almost the same, but a little different. This time I made this set first number a negative 3. A negative 3. So how do I subtract negative 3, subtract, let's pull this box away. This reads negative 3 subtract 7. And again, the way I'm going to do it is by drawing a bubble around that second item or a box and look at this whole thing. And again, I'm not going to think subtraction. I'm going to think of a negative 7 in that box. And what's the other number? Negative 3. And so when I'm combining things together, like swirling them around in a glass and just throwing them in, at this point, I can actually do these in any order and it won't matter. Okay. What color do you see here? Green. That's it. I got green and more green. So what's my answer going to be back here? Lots of green. It'll be 7 of them plus 3 more, or 3 more, 3 and 7 more. So it would be a total of 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 greens. And greens are negative, so my answer is negative 10. Now let's take a look at 2 more, because we're coming up with 4 different answers while we do this. So this time it's also been very similar, but this time I'm going to subtract a negative 7. So this problem reads, without that box around there, 3 subtract a negative 7. But remember, I'm going to go to combining, not subtraction. And to combine, I'm going to draw a box around everything we have in the back over to here. And so I got to ask myself, what is this number actually? And we find that, and don't say two negatives make a positive because it's not true. But that subtraction, that takeaway symbol, taking away a negative makes it positive. I'm actually taking that away, and what I actually land up having is a 7. That minus, subtract a negative 7, this number actually is a positive 7, which is why I have it in red. And then that other number 3. And so when I combine a positive 3 and a positive 7 together, I get red. 3 red and 7 more red make 10 red, and the answer is 10 reds, or positive 10. Now let's take a look at one other one. And you should be writing these in your math notebooks. So this one, I've got a negative 3, and I'm going to subtract a negative 7. And we'll do the same thing. You draw a box around this, coming all up to it. If there were only one negative in here, it would be a negative 7, but I have 2 of them. That's taking away the negative. And that again becomes a positive 7. But this 3 out here now is not positive, it's negative. And so I'm combining a negative 3 and a 7. And here we have different colors. And when I'm combining different colors, I got to ask, which one do I have more of? And that's where that 0 pair came in. Negative 3 plus 3 cancel, and what are you left with? How many more reds do I have than green? And my answer is absolutely going to be red. Why? Because I have more red than I have green. How many more? I have 4 more red than green. And so you're going to land up with an answer that looks like this. Negative 3 minus negative 7 equals positive 4. And we do it by combining. Now, here's the other ones we're going to do in class. You can pause the videos and try them. I'm going to go rather quickly. That's the 6th problem, your 7th problem, your 8th problem, your 9th one, 10th, 11th, and your 12th problem. And when you're finished, your paper should look like this. And this document's posted online. These are the number lines I had you draw, and here are the 12 problems with their answers. And so just try to make sense of these. And here I did some work with the number line on how that works. All right, thank you.